Tokyo Ghoul. What the heck is going on, bro? I was so flabbergasted at how many people fell this week. Holy crap, bro. Literally, I think this is probably the most death of actual characters that had, speaking roles and had actual, backstory, all these different things. I think this is probably the most I've ever seen of like those types of characters just getting bodied off like as if they were just fodder. Um, Absolutely nuts to see this week, and to know that this is pretty much just the start of it all. In the sense of there's seemingly a lot of battles still be to be had, So uh, I'm not 100% sure how many more people are going to fall. But I know in a good case, there's going to be quite a few just by how easily they're kind of knocking off some of these characters. And I do want to speak on like the one character that I think got it the worst out of everybody seemingly, or maybe got it the best. Who knows yet? But just from the initial reaction of from what I saw, it seems like they got it pretty freaking bad. And that is one of Kamiki's old um, investors that he was taking care of, the most scared one that looks the most like a chick, who the torso was after, which we come into the cave at the very end of all of this and come to find out that the torso isn't even there, or he was definitely there at one point, but to have him not kill Meats, I don't think his name is Mitsuki or Mutsuki or something like that. Um, to have someone like straight up, kill him would have made sense, but it's almost like if this is Torso that did this and he didn't, suffer from anything, he's definitely trying to savor the moment, I guess. From what you can tell, you could just see that the kid has been like just through it, and to think of how long these battles were going on and that the whole time from pretty much the jump he had been dealing with that. I'm hoping it's one of those situations where he actually kind of just bodied him, but when you look at the eyes and you look at how like his hair has changed a lot, like it's lost a lot of the dark black. Um, it's kind of like that moment of or the realization of just seeing what happened to the owl. You're like, "Oh, well, the guy who was a freaking kid, was a nice kid. He turned his hair wasn't white, his hair was like brown and it turned white. So it seems like just the traumatic stress and like all that strain going on to your body from being tortured and probably reliving it and then getting tortured again after um, all of that strain just literally is a mechanism for humans and ghouls to pretty much grow that white hair s stuff that they keep getting when it happens. So to see him like going into that, it kind of is a nod to Kamaki in a way, and just be like, yeah, he's almost there after whatever happened here was enough to pretty much break him, so to speak. And to know that that was happening to that kid is super super dark, man. And then not only that, maybe having the person who did the whole thing not even die, like he might have got away, or because I mean, think about it. When you're a ghoul, blood is really not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like you can bleed, you can cry, you can blink. Oh, we're gonna do a whole lot of crying, but if you really look at it, every ghoul lost like a crap ton of blood, right? They've all lost a lot of blood. But the main issue here is why um why is no one there? Why is there no body there for you to really be able to be like, oh, he took him out after the guy dropped his guard, or there's no body there, so it kind of gives you the instance of he might have just gave up on the torture, or just knows that it'll be more torturing to have lived through it than than just having somebody uh, execute you after torturing you. So living through it and seeing how the whites of his eyes, man, that kind of said it all for me, to be honest. And defeat Elisa after. Okay, so after something pops off, got it. After the miracle of the heaven takes place. Okay. But yeah, so we get all of that popping off, and to think that that's just a tiny thing that's going on, Um, we get into the real stuff where we got Armand, who completely is something nutty. He is something nutty. He reminded me of Kamiki inside the prison when he had like the caterpillar looking arms coming out. But this man had like four extra freaking arms, man. So I think we might be looking at the new chosen, the new chosen one-eyed ghoul, man, because there are so many of them that it almost feels like they're just playing a joke on us. They're like, remember how we said Kamiki was like really strong and no one could touch Kamiki? Well, now there's 100 Kamikis and they're all really strong. But Kamiki's still the strongest because Kamiki was Kamiki. Like that's just what it feels like. The Arthur was saying, like, huh, I made a really strong ghoul. How do I make another strong? Yeah, everybody's a one-eyed ghoul. Got it. Genius. Cut, print, genius. It feels kind of lazy like that. But at the same time, to think that the organization, the higher ups of the whole entire, company of people who go out and destroy ghouls was pretty much the ringleaders of this the whole time. It didn't make any lick of sense when you're looking at it. You're like, why do you guys hate ghouls so much? You guys are ghouls. And then come to find out they're not ghouls. They are the opposite of ghouls in a sense. They are pretty much the instance of where we saw Kamiki actually become, in the sense of Kamiki wasn't he wasn't like born a ghoul. He didn't have any type of DNA in his body of a ghoul. And the people that are here actually were born and, created to be these, like, interesting, already, half-bred ghouls and half humans. And whenever they would pretty much continue this experiment, some of them wouldn't come out to be like Kamiki and come out to be like everybody that they expected them to come out like, simply because they were um, the experiment, or the rumors that they were spreading. They're like, oh yeah, if you have a ghoul and a human has a baby, it's either gonna die or become a one-eyed ghoul. And, sure, that was true, but I think the death was the lie, and they just wanted, ghouls and humans to stay as far apart as possible, because every ghoul and every human that seemingly is having a child could lead to the inevitable end of their reign. Look at Kamiki. He's not even a kid who was born like this, but since he's young and had enough time to adjust to it and become one with his DNA and stuff like that, it makes a lot more sense that he has a lot of experience. And not only does he have experience, he also has gone through a crazy mind manipulation kind of tactic where he had to create another persona to protect himself. So with all these things really stacking up, you can understand that Kamiki not only, is broken, but he went through so much that that's the whole point of why everybody else is being tortured in the eyes of the old man who's doing all this stuff, is because Kamiki became so perfect. Why is he so much better than all these other people that, pretty much were born with the Ghoul DNA and they still somehow aren't getting that much power, or they aren't getting that much of an upgrade. And I think that's going to be told here soon because, like, the frames and stuff, they even try to explain, why some of the one-eye ghouls in the company were better than the others. They're like, oh yeah, his frame's higher. So I wouldn't be surprised if they explain a little bit why Kamaki's, traumatic experience he went through was just that much more of, a power rising move for him than anyone else could be. But I could be wrong as well because you guys get in the comments section and you guys come at me and tell me what's what and what, and I really appreciate that. So if you don't mind when you're hearing me out, I enjoy that you're actually listening to what I have to say because right now I'm just going off of pure emotion and my first actual watch of it. And to know that, Armin is this crazy, like, six-legged weird ghoul, and he almost lost to a freaking guy who's a douche. Uh, and then we got Kamaki, who's just in this place crying the whole time, not helping anyone anymore. Because, he's crying right now. He's lost someone important to him that we never got to see him become that important to him because, the story didn't care to elaborate. Unlike Black Clover, who gives two filler arcs just to explain one character. Um, we get so much in this week's episode that it feels so easily lost in translation. Um, and to know that there's a ghoul out there that was the king, aka the one that Kamiki beat, supposedly the one-eyed king, and to think that Aramon's dad and one of our own, the man who makes the mass, are all somehow this weird collective group of people that have been in so many different pockets, so many different, like teams. It's actually terrifying because they know so much about their respective teams. And I think the clown is by far the scariest thing that came out of this was seeing Aramon's dad getting a mask and getting pretty much everything he needs to just go and cause some terror. um, the one thing I do need a little bit of help with, and I'm guessing hopefully someone will hear me out and listen to this part. Uh, the guy who they all attacked, the guy who has a million swords inside of him. Who is that? Because my first instance went to when we kind of got the hierarchy of the CCG. Um, they're like, these are the highest ranks of the CGG, or like, these guys are just, the higher officers in general. And ever since we saw them, there were some of them that we didn't get to see. I know that for sure. And one of them was like an old man with like really long hair, beard, and everything. And to all of a sudden just see someone laid out on by some statue with really long white hair, and all of those people attacking him, like people that pretty much have been under his thumb for however long, like as long as the show's been going. Um, it was clear to me that that should have been him, but I'm not fully clear. It could be someone completely different. That's why I love to start a community of people who can give me this information, because I want to meet people passionate about this stuff. And if you're passionate about it, sub here, and I would love to hear what you had to say. But other than that, man, this episode was just absolutely out there, bro. Like, so many different things popping off and so little time, which that is definitely the reason why people hate this adaptation. But at the same time, you got to admit it's pretty nuts. And at the end of the day, I'm going to watch all of this, which I know a lot of people who actually dislike this is going to watch it too. Um, but at the same time, we got to enjoy what we can, man. And right now, Tokyo Ghoul is trying its best to compete with all these animes out here, and it's really not working for some and it's working for others. So let's see and give this show a fair chance like every other show and see where it ends. But with that, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you subscribe because I drop as much content as possible. But if not, thank you for clicking anyway and listening, and I hope that you at least have something to say in the comments if I said anything that you know about, or regardless, just want to say something. That will be greatly appreciated. Take care. Have a great day, night, morning, whatever the case it is for you. And I will definitely talk to y'all in the next one that stay around. So, again, peace and thank you.